boutique projects, we are actually looking at 100 units or lesser. Okay, and this is a quick comparison between the two type of condo apartments. Okay, so of course this may not apply to all developments. So generally the price for the mega project, okay, would be lower because it's not so exclusive, and the boutique ones tend to be a bit higher. Okay, but also because there is a higher chance that the boutique projects could be freehold. Okay, so why do I say that? It's because mega projects generally you will need a very big piece of land, and for it to be freehold is harder, especially if you're talking about new launches, because you have to go through an en bloc, right? And getting that 80% approval to proceed from the owners is a lot harder when the project is very big. And that is why if you look at the en bloc in the last couple of years, it is not that often, okay, that big projects would be en bloc. It's usually the smaller ones that have an easier time to get en bloc as compared to the big ones. Okay, of course there are a few exception cases, but generally it's that way. Okay, and rental wise, I think this one is very good. It's a mega project, there's a lot of units. Then other more competition, because other units are also significantly renting out as well. So same thing for big, less competition. Okay, and in terms of resale value, okay, this I would say is a bit of a ways to look at it. Okay, it could be when one sells, there's a lot of other competition, other units selling as well. So you guys have to there could be a battle of price, and there could be a bit of price for that. Okay, and so this is pretty much on surface it seems to be the case, and then of course boutique, because there's really not much places available anyway. Okay, and not all units are going to be for sale or for rent, so less competition. Okay, so revisit this resale value and see is it really okay. Then lifestyle-wise, of course, mega projects will have more project answers. So it's not crowded. I would leave it well. For boutique projects, will be less crowded, quieter. It will be more security, more exclusive, more private, and also key, not 100%, but we have also certain community as well, because maybe everybody seems to know each other more. Okay. Of course, we definitely say there's a greater voice on how it is being run. So everybody, in a way, like they hold a higher share in terms of the, when they want to come up with certain rules or decisions, they have a louder voice. Okay. Facilities-wise, of course, mega projects generally, because they're being a bigger crowd, okay, there are more facilities that will still be bigger. So instead of 30 meter left, they at least have 50 or even obviously some even going up like 100 meters left. But if your project only has less than 100 units, it doesn't make sense to make a very big pool. Not that many people are using it anyway. Okay? So big ones generally have more basic and smaller scale facilities. Okay? And in terms of maintenance fees, the mega projects usually cheaper, and lower fees because it's actually divided among more units. So the boutique ones tend to pay a little bit more for this. Okay. So in case you're wondering, how do I know, because there's so many projects in Singapore, right? So how do I identify these mega or these big projects? So we actually have this tool called shortlist. Okay, shortlist is by different area type. Okay, district, okay, planning region, and all this. And you can actually sort by, okay, so you can see there's this other field called number of units. So highest one apparently space is more than 500 units. So if you check this, okay, you can go by sort by the number of units. Okay, so why I recommend using short list, this tool is short list, is because you can identify even more Singapore. Okay, so select all the districts, all the areas and all that. Because there really isn't that many, especially for the Gaia project, there really isn't that many of such projects in the first place. Of course, if you want a very small big small big project, but not looking at the really mega ones, can. But if you just want to identify very clear only mega projects, more than 1,000, okay, you could go using this tool, okay. So these are some projects that have a lot of limits. So I'm going to quickly just show you guys this the tool, so you know where you can get all of this info. Okay, so you need to go to analytics and go to shortlist projects and transactions. Okay, over here. Okay, so what I'm trying to find here are projects that have more than 1,000 units. So I shortlist these projects, I'm looking for transactions projects. Okay, and then there's going to be a bunch of other fields that may not be used. So, for example, time period. Okay, if you just want to find projects that are of that certain size, you don't even need to bother about the time period much. You can just choose all. Okay, but because my results are going to show you the performance of these properties, sales volume and that. So I usually recommend 6 or 12 months, depending on how the property market is moving. Okay, so there's a lot of change. One moment it's very fast, one moment the price drop a lot. Then you not want to use a time period that is very long. Okay, because it not be reflective of current market conditions. So usually 6 or 7 months is usually not too far away from the current market situation. It is another 2 to 12 months. And in this case, I'm looking for apartment consulting. So if you want to find answers, you can do so. And then for the purpose of this session, if you want to find the kind of project, it will be apartment consulting. Okay, and this thing would be so I'm going to go most of the others, and I'm just going to look at the area type filter. Okay, and I'm going to select all. Okay, so this is looking at the whole of Singapore. Of course, if you're looking at a certain area, please go ahead to select the district or the region that you're looking at. Okay. So I'm analyzing the whole island as a whole, so I select all districts. So rank by is also important now, okay, but if you wish to help client with short certain projects, you can rank by what is important to them. Okay, so some others here, of course, I was looking for big projects. So I'm gonna remove the big ones, and I'm gonna keep I will just GTS certain projects that the system doesn't have the number of units aside. Okay, so short is. Okay, so this is where we're actually scanning the whole of Singapore. So it may take a little bit longer, but you're just selecting a small area. Maybe you don't get your system so much, then it will be a bit faster. Okay, so depends. So I'm going to sort by number of minutes, and you can see so this is highest to lowest. So at the word highest is actually treasures at 32,000 units. And then we have the car, KH, Heaven, TOPM. Okay, Leland, okay, so some of the more iconic projects with the most number maybe all here. Riverfront, Park Celebrities, Florence, Park Esta, Heimat, Soul Earth, the really residences, so that is really 10 projects. Let's go to page 2. Bellevue, Kings what could be needed, reflection, sale, beach shop, and South residences. One interlink total 20 projects. Let's see if there's any more. Okay. Beach shop seems affinity garden. So officially there are 24 projects that have met the mega project declaration. Because there are a handful of those that are very near to the 1,000 but for the official declaration it's like total 24 mega projects. Yeah, of course, I'm not going to count the big ones, probably a lot more. Okay. That fall under 100 and below. So you could check this too. Okay. I think that will be quite a handful for a lot more. Okay. So let's also go back to these slides and let's do a case study. Okay. So what I did here was compare two projects that are near to each other. Okay, I tried to make it similar as possible, but I realized that there's a bit of difficulty there because there could be other factors at play. So I tried to find something that the TOP very near or location very near or technical very near. So this is probably one of the most ones that I can find. Not entirely the same. Okay, so that was TOP in 2013. And urban residency in 24. So just probably less than a year difference because of one month and then they are all quite near to Serangoon MRT. So you can see over here, I actually used two location scan over here. And you can see that I set the landmark as MR the Serangoon MRT. So here there's another function. Sorry, here. But it actually states the distance from the MRT 900 and 900. So they're just like 1 to 2 minutes walk away from each other. Okay, so very close, very similar. And if you remember what I showed earlier in short list, you will see that there's all these different views below. Okay, so I go. So here, so this decision is the maintenance is some of the projects will not have rental info because it's not completed yet. Okay, see, if not you will be able to see the rental info. So this project has been some timeline in almost 10 years. So there will be total info as well. Okay. And this is actually a screenshot that I took last year. So let's actually go to the tool directly to do a new one. Okay. So what I did was I go to location scan. Okay. So instead of shortlist, I use location scan, and I actually put in a landmark. So in this case, I use Serangoon MRT. Okay. And then I selected 1 kilometer away. Okay, so I'm going to use the performance of these projects based on transactions that happened in the last 12 months. Okay, and I'm going to put the age 10 to 9 to 10. Okay, it should fall around there. Okay, there will be others, so let's see. Oh, okay. The views, blah, blah. Okay. So let's see. You see what happened over here is that there were transactions in the last 12 months. Okay. There were transactions for minted. Okay. There were a total of 47 units that were transacted in the last 12 months. But it seems like the other one, which is urban residents, no transactions. Okay, that already shows you one possible. I'm not sure whether I should say that it's a problem, but it does affect how the pricing would be for a project if there's not enough transaction volume. Okay, so I just double check just in case I put the age wrongly. Okay, I try and find. Okay, just double confirm that there isn't. If not, then I'll just set a longer time period. Okay. Yeah, it seems like there isn't any transactions in the last 12 months for urban residents. Just gonna set a longer time period. Okay. And here you go. So we have A and B. Okay, so this, of course, this pricing here now is based on last 24 months. Okay, so it may not be representing current price, okay, because it's a combination of like 1 year, 2 years ago. Okay, but if you look at this too, okay, so you can see the time, everything, the price. 1235 versus 1276. This is the average price. The sales volume. Okay. So when you look at the sales volume, also take a quick look at the number of units. Okay, as a proportion or percentage of number of units. Okay, then there was also average rent, rental volume. Okay. And then the rental yield. So the rental yield here, we're actually looking at the rental yield if they were to buy likely today. Okay, so we take the most recent average rent and prices. We multiply the rent per square foot per month by 12 months, and we divide by the average price over here. And that is how we got hold of the rental yield 3.2. However, do take note, if the number of transactions, the sales volume or rental volume, is less than 5, then it may or may not be the best representation of the current yield that is being achievable. Okay? So these are the two projects that we are looking at. So a quick look at it, seems like the price is very close. Okay, 1235 and 1276. Okay. And the yield wise, of course, interestingly, okay, the yield here seems that the Midland is doing better. Sorry, urban residents is doing better. So this is interesting because usually we say that freehold yield will be not so good, right? Because they consumers or tenants don't really care whether it's freehold or leasehold, and you have to pay a bit more for the freehold. So in this case, if you, of course, it takes into account lesser transactions to come up with this average rent. Okay, but looking at this, of course, this is just based on last 24 months. It could have changed already. Okay, but looking at this, yield is a bit higher for the this smaller project, which is quite interesting. I would say that maybe it may or may not be the case for all projects, okay, but just a good reference over here. Okay, and then over here, there's another few more views. We have the annualized capital gain, the profitable transactions, and the percentage of profitable transactions. So this annualized capital gain that we're looking at here has nothing to do with the time period that I select. Okay, what it does is it takes the launch price. Okay, that means the quarter that it was being launched versus the current quarter. Okay, and we see how prices have moved on a yearly basis. Okay, annualized in terms of the amount of gain that they make on a yearly basis. So looking at this, I think it is a clear winner here that Midland has made a lot, or should I say the people who purchase Midland newly launched, and if they were to sell today, okay, they actually make a lot more gain compared to urban residences. And in terms of profit wise, okay, in the last 24 months, it's the same as the time period that I select above. Okay, last 24 months there were 122 transactions that were profitable. Okay, this is out of the 183 that was transacted. Okay, and then there were 5 that is unprofitable. So in case you're wondering, how come the profitable and the unprofitable, when you add up, it doesn't equal? It is because there could be transactions that maybe the earlier transaction was not caveated, so we don't actually know whether they make profit or not per se. Okay, if you are the first transaction available. Okay, so but overall, based on the available profitable transactions that we have, we see that 90+% profitable as compared to urban residences. Okay, total 5 transactions. 4 are profitable, not so bad, but because of the number of units transacted, which is a lot lower, and the number of units, which is also a lot lower, okay, so we see that 80% are profitable, so compared to this. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is go back to this. Okay. So this is actually from market trends. So I'll show you how to generate this trend. Of course, this is not the latest one, so I'm gonna actually show you how to do it. So we can see how the trend is like for both the mega project compared to the boutique project. Okay, so looking at this, of course, this is not the latest. In terms of growth, okay, price growth is a lot more as compared to urban residences. So when it was launched in 2010, okay, it was only selling at 840, and then last year it was selling at close to above 1,002. Okay, so they made 40 plus almost 50%. Compared to urban, which was selling at 1,002, a bit higher than 1,002, and today, or at least last year, they were selling slightly above 1,003. Okay, so let's see if it is still the case. Okay, so what is this tool that I just showed you? It is actually under market trends over here. Okay. So for those of you who are on the expert package, you'll also be able to access market trends on the tablet app. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare individual projects. So I type in the project name, okay, the main method, apartment condo, and I'm going to compare with other property types. So I can actually compare up to 3, but I'm just going to compare 2 from this purpose. Okay. So urban residence, and you can just compare over here. You always double check the results or make sure that the fields that you have put in is correct. Okay, especially if you keep changing the filters after you are done with the first chart or the second chart. Okay, because sometimes you may overlook a certain field. So here I'm just comparing project to project and let all the other filters the default setting. Okay, so you can see if by default setting, okay, it is actually last 3 years, and we would give you the average price on a monthly basis. So here quite interesting because the red one, Bintan, you can see a lot of up and down, okay, but generally you can see it's an uptrend. For urban residences, it was a downtrend initially, and then there was an uptrend. But in terms of the number of data points, you can see it is a lot lesser, simply because there are certain months that there's totally no transactions at all. So there's no basis to have except for to look at the last one before. So example, if I were trying to sell in March 2021, I could only refer to the last transaction that was in July 2020. Okay, as compared to Bintan, I would believe that almost every month or at least a couple of months, there is at least one transaction. Okay, and therefore you can see every month there is transaction. Okay. Yeah, of course, we could still look at quarterly, or we can look at yearly, and we could also pull the timeline to when it was being launched. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull all the way So the system will be able to detect the earliest transaction available. Okay, so this is quarterly, and even quarterly, you can see there were many quarters that were being skipped when there is no transaction at all, okay, especially for urban residents. Because if I use yearly, maybe not so bad because it combines the months into quarters and into years, okay, but still you can see 2013 and then the next transaction 5 years later, 2018. Okay, so there were still transactions last year and the year before, but 2013 no transaction at all as of now. Okay, so generally they did make some profit for both projects. So I'm going to use this pencil tool over here. You can see there's a pencil here. I'm going to click on point A and point B, 13% growth. And if I had bought Minton, it would be a 68% growth. So in fact, it is higher than the earlier screenshot that I showed you guys, because in the last 1 year, okay, with COVID in place, all the construction delay and everything, generally the economy was pretty good. Prices were going up for the whole of the Singapore. Okay, so but overall you can see there's an additional growth from last year to this year. Okay, so one is 13% and one is 68%. So looking at this in terms of growth rate, okay, I would say it's pretty clear that the leasehold property, okay, I'm sorry, not leasehold property, the mega project in this case, the Minton, was doing better than the what's that they call boutique project. Okay, so let me go back to this. Okay, so of course we can also toggle to volume, and you can see like earlier I showed you all for urban there was big gaps in between. Okay, so there were certain months that there's totally no transactions for urban is a red one. Okay, and mostly there's a lot of transactions for Minton. Okay, so how does you can actually get hold of this here as well. Okay, so you just need to toggle to volume. This is the latest one. Okay, of course I sort the position, so Minton is now red, and then Resi is the blue one. Okay, so you can see every year, this year not at all, last year 1 transaction, 2021 5, and then 111. Okay, so yeah, in certain years not at all. Okay. Sheila, why you laugh at urban residents? Let me know, okay? Are you marketing that project? Okay. So what is this effect of the volume? Okay, how does it affect the performance? So of course the project size puts a cap on the number of transactions. If there's only that number of units, and some units are really like for own stay, don't intend to sell, okay, then there's only a certain number of units that will always be on the market, right? So a bigger project will give higher chance for more transactions to happen. Okay, so higher density, higher transaction volume, and how that helps to push prices would be it aids in valuation, because your valuation company or your banks, okay, if they want to give out loans, they would usually base on the recent transactions that happen. Okay, so if there's a lot of recent transactions, it's easy for the banks or the valuation company to base on the past transaction to come up with this new valuation for the unit that you're trying to sell. Okay, but if let's say the last transaction, for example, like urban residents, this whole year not at all, and then maybe the last transaction available was 1-2 years ago. Okay, the transaction price that was 1-2 years ago would not be what the current market would be already, okay, unless the market is very, very stagnant. So in this case, we have seen how the market has moved quite a bit in the last 1 year or so. So if your past transaction is 1-2 years ago, it's not useful anymore, not that useful anymore. Okay, so it aids valuation, and it also helps to boost the seller's confidence to beat the last transacted price. So I did come across my colleague actually. Eve, are you here? Disturb her a bit. So Eve was actually telling me, so when I was trying to share with her on the volume effect, she said that, but it could also work the other way around. And then it got me thinking, is it really the case? And yeah, I do think that it could possibly work in the other way, like a double-edged sword. So if there's a lot of transaction volume, but this time round it is all going downwards, okay, so let's say the market is not so good, okay, then it could also pull all the prices down as well. So it could work both ways. So of course, if in a stable and uptrend market like the one that we are in right now, okay, there is usually more pros than cons. Okay, but if let's say the market is falling very badly and all that, then it could work in a different direction lah. Okay, so but looking at how things have always been in the last many years, okay, with all the cooling measures in place, with the government just wanting to stabilize the market, okay, not wanting prices to go too high or too low, okay, I do foresee that generally this double-edged sword would be more leaning towards buying the mega project, more pro than con. Okay, so rental trend. Okay, so this was the trend for urban residences. Okay, in terms of the rental amount, they were having a growth of 2%. That was last year. Okay, and then Minton actually grew in terms of about 11%. Of course, you know, when market is no good, there could be a fall as well, and both of them experienced that. Okay, but after COVID and all that, in fact, this year, I'm sure you all know that how rental have spiked and gone up by a lot. So I do foresee that rental has also gone up a lot here. So let's take a quick look. So I'm going back to market trends. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the sale type to rental. Okay, sale type to rental, and let's do a comparison. Okay, so all the other fields the same, just looking at rental here. And I'm looking at rental amount. Okay, so let's look at yearly. And here you go. So you can see in terms of growth rate, okay, Minton is a bit higher at 48%, and urban residences was at 42. Okay, of course, in terms of data point, okay, this is yearly, so all of it, most of them have a yearly data point. If you look at quarterly, there could be months that there were no transactions for the smaller project. Okay, so quarterly maybe still have, monthly there could be missing ones like, okay, but overall growth rate wise, okay, you can see that Minton is a bit better. Of course, if you look at quarterly, so you see the problem or not really problem lah, but the possible change in growth rate here, okay, could happen if we are looking on a different time period. Okay, what happened over here was for urban residents, which is the blue one, okay, they started a lot higher here, okay, and the next month it fell, then next quarter it fell. And that's why if we're looking at the overall growth rate, which is point A, Q1 2016 to today, it looks like that it fell by a lot. Okay, but if I had looked at 1 quarter away, so let's say I shift by 1 more quarter, okay, you can see that the growth rate is very different now. Now I'm telling you that urban residences or growth rate is a lot higher. Okay, so that's why I always recommend don't use monthly. If there's enough data point, don't even use quarterly, use yearly. Okay, so that it combines the months into quarters, into years, it avoids all the outliers, and what you're getting is a better representation on how the market really is. Oh, yeah, sometimes brain fog, Sheila. Okay, yeah. So you see over here, looking at this, of course, I wouldn't say that it's too far away, 6%. Okay, but overall, it's saying that going for the bigger project would be a better buy. Okay. Okay. So you could also look at the individual data points, and if you actually go to research, which is the whole report, okay, we actually put down all the individual transactions down. Okay, so and it's also broken down into the number of bedrooms. So if you want to see how it could affect the different bedroom types, you can also look over here. Okay. But generally, because of the number of units in the mega project compared to the boutique project, okay, you will see that there's a lot more data points for the bigger project lah. Of course, this is already looking at monthly. Okay, so in months where there were no transactions at all, it will be missing lah. So this one, I believe every month there is transactions. Okay. Oops. Okay. So there's also the number of transactions that were profitable and unprofitable. So what I'm going to do, because this is not the latest one, I'm going to bring you guys to research. Okay. So go to analytics, go to research. Okay. So if you're new to Edgeprop, okay, research is one of the tools that you must know, because most of the time, most of the info that you need can be found here. Okay. So I'm going to urban residence. Okay, so type the project, click on the drop down and search. Okay, and we look at the trend first. Okay, so look for the trend, which is below. So you can see there's price trend. Okay, so you can see how these are all individual units, right? With unit number when you mouse over, and it's a lot of empty space in between, very scattered. Okay, and generally looking at it, prices not going up or down. Okay, of course there's two. We actually put in the asking price also. Okay, but whether it can be converted into an actual transaction, okay, we don't know yet lah. Okay, so volume. Okay, so you can see again a lot of empty spaces. Okay, and then this is the average price. So average price did go up in the last 1 year or so. Okay, and this is the rental trend that I was showing you guys just now. So if you wish to just zoom into a certain type, you can. Okay, because it could be different for different property sizes as well. So today we are just looking at mega versus boutique, right? But there are other factors at play. One of it is the tenure, which unfortunately I couldn't find one that is same tenure, same age and all that. And then the other one could be the property, the unit size as well. So when you actually play with the market trends tool, you can see that there's a lot of filters on the top. What you can do is you can play around and add in more filters along the way, so that you know whether if there's a difference in terms of performance, in terms of growth rate, what is it possibly due to? Is it due to the size? Is it due to the location? Is it due to the property type? Okay, or that kind of thing like. Okay, so another thing I want to show you is the sales portion here. So urban residences, you can see out of the total 55 transactions, there is actually 7 that are profitable. Okay, so same thing, if they bought directly from developer, they didn't sell, so I won't know profit or not, okay, until they sell. So there were only 7 units that made profit, okay, and 2 were unprofitable. So you can see the individual units that make profit and no profit lah. Okay, so 7 units profitable versus total number of units 47. Okay, so I just do a quick math. 7 divided by 47, about 14, almost 15%, okay, of the units are profitable. Okay, and then if I go to midterm, Okay. Okay, so this one take note, because Minton has a lot of transactions, see, high transaction volume, we by default will only show you 5 years time frame. So if you want to show all the transactions, all the profitable units since day one, okay, you need to go to report option and change the data to all data. Okay, so all data and then click on apply report option. Okay, so after it load the new report, you go to sales and you can see. Okay, so in terms of absolute number, of course, number of profitable units would be a lot higher. Okay, 465. There are still a handful of unprofitable depending on when they bought. Okay, but if we are looking at 465 and we divide by number of units of 1145, this is 40 almost going to 41% compared to urban residents, which is only 15%. Okay, so in terms of profitable, of course, with more transactions happening, we will be able to see that the mega project would have a bit more profitable transactions. Okay, and then this is also counted by the, in terms of percentage, we also take into account the total number of units versus the number of profitable transactions. Okay. Oh, I realize I a bit overrun. Okay, faster. Okay, so of course, so far seems like I'm very leaning much towards the mega project, but is it really cannot buy the boutique projects? Okay, not true. Okay, so there is of course opportunities for the boutique projects as well. So other than personal preference, okay, because just now remember I had the table that compare. If your buyer is buying for own stay and what they want is exclusivity, uniqueness, serene environment, that kind of thing, then of course you go for a boutique project. Okay, so most of the large scale, okay, is actually located in the OCR, okay, and would be more looking at the HDB upgraders. Okay, so what they want is facilities, communal space. But if what you want, okay, or if what your buyers want is a more central location, and because most boutique projects have a higher chance of being freehold, okay, they can actually consider the boutique ones. Okay, unique design concept, lifestyle offering. Okay, very different from mainstream. Okay, so to end off, I would say in terms of performance-wise, okay, based on what we have found from the tools, mega projects do generally do better, okay, because there's more consistent activity, be it for sales, be it for rental, okay, so quantity of activity is higher. So, but beauty for the boutique projects is it's exclusive, it's private and unique offering, okay, and of course, before we end, I still want to highlight that, for example, the example that I used today, there are other factors that were affecting the performance. Okay, so unfortunately, a bit hard to find apple to apple. I try very hard already. There's only that many boutique projects and no, that many mega projects in Singapore. Okay, but generally, that's the whole idea. Okay. So with that, I hope you all found today's session useful. We will see you guys next month. There will be new topics coming up soon. So do stay tuned to our social media, Telegram or Facebook, or stay tuned to your account manager. So if you save their numbers, they can actually send you the training details as well. Okay. So with that, thank you and bye-bye everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you, Julie.